Hey everybody, welcome to the channel and welcome to the conference. All honor, glory, and praise be to our one and only Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Y'all, excuse me. These jealous females out here are getting out of hand. Let's talk about it. Okay, so for any of you out there, if you are dealing with jealous people, or maybe, I don't want to say dealing with them, but if jealous people are around you or a jealous person, then you know that someone like that, it is a sickness that they give off. And in these last days, it is at the point to where people cannot even hide it. If they ever could, and jealousy is an emotion that, I would think that is something that would eat somebody up from the inside out. That every time they look at a person or think about a person, they just get this ball of envy in them that just gets to staring, and I would think it would torment them. I would think that jealousy and envy would be tormenting. Me personally, I've never been infected with it, thank God, and I don't ever want to be infected with it. But for people that are, let me tell you something. A jealous, envious person is a dangerous person. You can never trust people like that. People like that will grin in your face and badmouth you behind your back, and everything that they say about you will be a lie, because you got to understand that a jealous-hearted person wants to make you look bad because they resent either what you look like, who you are, what you have, or your persona, or everything about you, most likely. And even if all of the above does not apply to many of you out there specifically, one of them may. One of them has to. They're envious of you about something. And I noticed that a lot of women in particular hold a lot of jealousy. And it's always those females that just don't look the part. Now for the fellas, I think that for men, it's more of a status thing. It's more of, if a man is considered a ladies' man, or if he has a certain job position, or has a certain level of income, or certain status in society, I would think that other men would envy him. For you fellas, that's what I would think. And not only that, but most likely, if it's a man, if he's well put together, and men are jealous of other men's looks also, I believe. A person can be jealous of anything. But I know one thing for you guys out there: if you're dealing with a jealous person, I'm not gonna say watch them. I would just say stay away from them as much as possible. I know that with women, a lot of times they'll start trying to emulate your look, or they'll start trying to look like you, or try to start this secret competition with you, and they look ridiculous doing it. I mean, me personally, I can tell when a female is trying to bite my style, because I mean they're always tacky with it, but I'm thinking, well, you weren't trying to do all that and be all extra before, and then you can tell, because with women it's so obvious, because they find it very difficult to be polite to you. Like they'll be polite one day, and then they'll be standoffish the next. And the reason why they're so standoffish is because they've been somewhere they think behind your back, running their mouth about you negatively, and they don't even know you at all, for a lot of you. And even if they do know you, it could be a best friend, or a family member, or a relative, or a sibling, or whoever you all may be dealing with. If you would notice with jealous people, they'll be friendly one minute and then kind of standoffish the next. It's because they know that they've been somewhere running their mouth about you when you probably don't even give 2 cents about them if you're somebody like me. But I've just seen, I just feel like there's an increase. It's almost like, well, maybe perhaps that's just the increase in wickedness. So, I feel like it all ties in together. And then, like I said, when you involve a man, oh my gosh, especially, if you get a lot of attention from men and they don't, because, they're not anything worth looking at or talking to. No, women notice when other women draw all the attention and they do not. But that's not your fault, whoever you are. And, and for you fellas out there, men notice if you draw all the attention from women. And that's not your fault either. And you have to watch things like that. When you are somebody that is an attention getter, if you are hanging around other dudes, you might think y'all cool like that, but they not gonna like that. Because ain't nobody paying them no mind. And if you are a woman and you are an attention getter and the fellas are hollering at you, or even not even trying to holler, they just enjoy your company, other women are not going to like that. And they're paying attention. Although they try to act like they're not, they're paying attention. And oftentimes those will be the ones that will be the gossip starters and all this and that and the third, because they just resent the fact that they don't get that level of attention. And I think a lot of times that's why you'll see certain ones, you could tell when they're trying to bite on your style a little or whatever, but they can't compete where they don't compare, and they know this, and that's why they don't like you. And so the advice that I would give to those of you that are dealing with people like that, or if you're not really interacting with them, I would say just ignore them altogether. That's what I do. Just ignore them altogether. If they're one way one minute and another way the next, I would say keep that same energy. I would say don't open your mouth one day and then not the next, because the day that they open their mouth, that's fake. They're forcing their smiles, they're forcing their grins, they're forcing their hellos. I would just say keep that same energy every day and don't bother me at all, because you don't need them. You don't need them. And one thing I cannot stand is a jealous female. And, because people like that, they're trying to project their insecurities onto you. So meaning, I feel like, or if not even project their insecurities onto you. Well, yeah, they are. Because when they talk about you, they think behind your back. But they can't talk about you behind your back if you don't give them your back. They're just talking about you. But, if you're not interacting with them like that, then, I think you would, how could I place it? You would feel better about it. So that's the reason why it's just very important that once you peep that you're dealing with a sometimey person, or you may not even be dealing with them. It could be somebody you don't even know. It could be a coworker. It could be whatever. But I would just say somebody like that, I wouldn't even say hello to. Even if it was somebody that I previously may have said hello to, or maybe you're engaged in small talk or whatever. You got to learn a lot. For a lot of you out here on these jobs and stuff, I'm not saying you're slow to the game, but you got to learn these people in the workplaces. A lot of them, they're not your friends. They're your coworkers. And if you make a friend, you better know who they are. And, and I feel like, me personally, I'm a pretty good judge of character. So, I pretty much know who to, I'm a loner anyway, but I pretty much know who I would say is okay and who isn't. And I think that if it's somebody that if I feel they're okay, they know that that's what I feel about them or think about them, because I will treat them differently than I do everybody else, because I read people's spirits. I don't look at anything other than trying the spirit, because the spirit of the person is the person. And so that's the only advice I could give to any of you out there. I think that if you're a highly intuitive person, and I know I am, you know who to deal with and who not to deal with. And I'm not going to say don't treat people with respect and treat people decent. I'm just saying that I would do a flyby, high and by. Because let me tell you something about somebody that don't like you. If they don't like you, they still don't like you. Behind that grin, they still don't like you. Behind that hello, they still don't like you. Behind all that fakery and that fake politeness, they still don't like you. Whatever they felt about you initially, they still do. So keep that in mind all the while maintaining your professionalism, but always, always, always know who and what you're dealing with. Because once a jealous person, I feel like always a jealous person. And especially if you're the type of chick, you have it together. You may not be in the position that you want to be in as it pertains to perhaps your career or your whatever it is you all out there are pursuing. Of course, that's none of anybody's business but yours and God's, for you ladies out there or you gents. But I would just say that it doesn't mean that somebody out there isn't looking at you like you're that it guy or that it chick, because you know that you are. Or for a lot of you, and for those of you that don't know that you are, you should know, because your enemies always will show you who you are. The way that they treat you shows you who you are. Because if you were nobody, they wouldn't treat you like in a disrespectful manner. See, a lot of times the way that people treat you has already told you what your status is. Nobody tries to tear down somebody that's already at the bottom. People always want to come at people that are erect. Because when you are erect, you are a threat.